fucking diseased, corrupt temple down on your head. It's gotta be biblical.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Patriots Across the Pond and Friends, episode 26. And we are here today, Stu and myself, with Ben Barlow. We're going to be talking about breaking free of the captured republic called the United States. How are you, Ben?
I'm doing fabulous. How about you guys?
Yeah, very well. Very exciting times.
It's unprecedented times.
Yeah.
Very exciting. So, you know what? Let me just tell everybody just a little bit about you, and then we're going to jump right in.
Awesome.
So Ben is a freedom fighter, sovereign, searcher of truth. Been across the United States from California to Florida and Texas to North Dakota, putting on seminars on how to take back our rights, freedoms, and liberties in a seminar series called Ben Barlow Presents Your Rights, Your Life. He's toured the United States with the Truth Tour 1, speaking to sovereignty, and what he teaches in the seminars is how to take back our rights, freedoms, and liberties. 31 days, 22 cities, starting in California, across southern United States to Florida, up to New York, and back to the final stop in Las Vegas, Nevada. Wow.
Yeah. Now, I'm a general contractor, so I couldn't do the entirety of the Truth Tour, but I went from California over to Florida. I only planned on actually doing 4 states. Going to Texas because my daughter lived in Texas at the time. So I'm like, okay, you guys are going to Texas. I've got friends in Arizona. So I'll start in California, go visit my friends in Arizona. Then we'll jump over to Texas, and then I'll fly back, let you guys finish it out. And they were coming back through the northern part of the United States into Denver, Colorado, then to Salt Lake City, where they actually held it where I do my seminars, and then drop down into Las Vegas, Nevada for the grand finale. And when I went to Texas, they asked me if I would just continue on for a little bit. I'm like, okay, I've never been to Louisiana. They were going to go down where Mardi Gras was at. Never been there. So, all right, I'll go over there, and then I'll fly back. Couldn't get a flight out of Louisiana at the time. I can't remember what the issue was. So I went all the way to Florida with them. And then flew back because I'm a general contractor. I had a job that was going at the time. Customer was excited for me to come and do this Truth Tour. So they're like, hey, yeah, there's nothing I could really do. We had a lull in what we were doing. Cabinets were getting built. So they said, yeah, go do that. Came back, checked on my jobs. Flew back into Denver, Colorado with them is where I met up with them. And then came to Salt Lake. Then went down to Las Vegas, Nevada for the grand finale. Then came back the following week and did another seminar here in Salt Lake City. It was exciting in 2020. That was all in 2022.
Yeah, that was with Lewis and all the guys, wasn't it?
Lewis Herms. Yeah.
Wow. So what you do for a living? You build.
Yeah, I'm a general contractor. I've been a painting contractor for 24 years, a general contractor for 22 years. Started out painting for other other big builders, and started looking at that. Holy smokes, there's a lot of junk builders. So there's a market for a good quality contractor. So I started up Quality Contractors Unlimited. I already had Painting Contractors Unlimited was my painting company, and my company tagline was Demand Quality, because there's just so many garbage companies out there.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, everybody knows this in construction. And so I wanted to bring quality. And so we were already one of the best painters out there, painting companies, doing a lot of the big developers and builders. And so then I just went into general contracting and just did custom quality stuff at a nice price point.
Yeah.
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 So,
And you
Yeah.
know, and half the battle is finding a quality person, and the other half is getting them to show up.
well, yeah. And so now the problem is, since COVID, there's no employees. And I'm telling you guys, part of what we're going through in the United States is because of how they set up the system. So they set up the system to, when my grandparents were going through life, they didn't want my mother's 86 years old. So they didn't want my mother going to college when it was her time to go to college. The boys could go to college, but the women typically didn't go to college back then. And so the idea was that they stayed home and were mothers. Well, my mom wanted to go to college. She never got to go to college. So then she raised us. There's 7 kids. 1 girl is the oldest, 6 boys. And so she raised us and parents at that point in time, because I'm 57 years old, work smarter, not harder. Okay, so the idea was get you into college, get an education, work smarter, not harder. So then when it comes to me, of course, with my daughter's 30 years old, she has to go to college. It's a prerequisite to go to college. If you want to make any money in this world, you have to have a college degree to get, that's like the Willy Wonka golden ticket in order to get into a corporation and get the money. It doesn't guarantee you're going to get the money. It doesn't guarantee you're going to keep the job, but that's the whole idea. Now think about that. How many people went through college that are my age that when I didn't go to college? I moved down to Phoenix, Arizona from Salt Lake City, Utah. I got into a facilities management company through one of the big corporations of the world, Archer Daniels Midland, supermarket to the world. We were a corn sweetener station. So here I am going and doing that as management. I worked my way from the bottom to the top as management, came back here to Salt Lake City to see all my buddies, and they all went through college, and none of them are actually even doing work that they went and got a degree for. They're all back into construction because that's where the money was at.
Right.
Yeah.
And so this whole work smarter, not harder, you've got all these people that flooded the market with education, but they don't have any common sense or knowledge. They've got a degree that says I'm this kind of guy, but they can't apply it anywhere. And this has been going on for a long time. So my daughter goes in through college, and they flooded the market with all these guarantees that you're going to get a job. This is how much money you're going to get. And oh, let me kill this. And so anyway, they flooded the market with all these kids with degrees, and there's not enough jobs for them.
No.
And none of them can get out of their student loans. So don't you think that that's a little trickery that was going on by our government?
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
you know, I have to tell you though, because I'm in your generation, a little older, and my kids are a little younger. But you know, one of the things that I saw in like our generation of parents, at least here in New York, which to me was so ridiculous. You have no idea. Like these kids get into debt, and they want to go to a college. They idealize it, whatever, right? And the parents are there backing up the stupidity with $70,000 to $90,000 a year in tuition, and getting behind this. I was really clear with my kids. I'm a single sole parent, so I was really clear with them when they were like freshmen in high school. I said, listen, I'm not going in debt, and you're not going in debt. And you're going to have to work hard and try to get a scholarship. And if that doesn't happen, we're going to figure out a different way that we're going to get around this. And one of the things that a lot of people do is they send their kids to community college for 2 years, right? And then they transfer into a school, so you have that kind of degree. But the parents are part of the problem because they don't talk logic to these kids. And they let them rack up all this
or
debt.
Common sense.
No common sense the parents have
So
either.
you and I are the same kind of parents. I took custody of my daughter when she was 3 years old. I raised her by myself.
Wow, God bless
No
you.
mother involved since she was 6. I knew that I couldn't afford to put her through university. So Even when she was in junior high, I said, look, you have to get a degree if you want to, because guys, I worked my way up through every single company, and then I went through corporate sales because I was facilities management in what's called Icon Office Solutions. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but Icon Office Solutions was worldwide, selling office equipment, copiers, fax machines, all kinds of office type supplies that you would have within your company. I mean, some of these copiers were $500,000. So I was in-house facilities management, which is what my whole history had been up to that point in time. And I was in-house facilities management for Blue Cross Blue Shield. They had 13 buildings. Icon Office Solutions had 9 buildings. Blue Cross Blue Shield had all their own maintenance people, so I didn't have to do maintenance, but I was over all the contractors that would come in and do work. Icon Office Solutions, I was their everything guy. If they needed something, be it contractors to come in do air conditioning or whatnot, I had to oversee them, make sure they were doing whatever needed to be done. If we needed a plumber, I did everything for them.
Wow.
A position came open in sales because I'm in this building and I'm like, here's these 26-year-old guys out of university driving these $90,000 cars. And I'm like, what in the heck do these guys do? And they're like, oh, this is the sales building. And I'm in the back of the sales building, in the back of the bullpen, me and the logistics director overall of Icon. And I'm like, they sell what? Office equipment? I can sell office equipment. So I went into one of the, it was named account manager. And I had to hang a wide erase board up for him. And I said, hey, what does it take to get into sales? He's like, oh, well, you got to have sales experience. I said, well, I do sales, because I did do sales for the company that I was with. I was with a bottling brokerage company. So we sold Cleanse-Aid Chemical, Riverside uniforms. We sold everything that the bottling plants, the food manufacturing plants needed. I just made a salary. I wasn't commissioned. Well, these guys are total commission sales. So I went in there and he says, well, you can't work for me because we're named accounts. We're like the creme de la creme of the salespeople, but you can go into commercial sales. And so I'm like, all right, they set me up an appointment. I went in there and applied. You're supposed to have a university degree, a bachelor's degree. Well, I didn't have anything. I didn't even graduate high school because I was so anti this education garbage that they're feeding us, which is an indoctrination. And I didn't learn like that. But went through their whole sales process. I did go to Glendale Community College down in Phoenix for business classes and math classes. That's all I did. That's my education outside of the public education system, and excelled in sales way beyond all the other salespeople. But it's just determination. Your degree does not make you who you are. It doesn't make you smart. There's a lot of degreed people out there that are dumbest people on the planet. It just means you have a degree.
They're so dumb and they have no common sense. I'm sorry, Stu. We go off on this all the time. And they're more indoctrinated because they're in the system for so long. So they can be easily controlled and manipulated.
Yeah,
correct.
I was very similar to you, Ben. I mean, I was the only one from my primary school that went to grammar school. By the third year in grammar school, the middle year out of 5, I realised it was all bullshit. And I just messed about and couldn't wait to get out of there. But I went straight. I was a car mechanic apprentice. I've done some plumbing work, electrical work, generator engineer, shop fitting, all sorts of stuff, general building. I've always been on the tools. And, you know, I've had a couple of apprentices coming as well. And some of them have come in with top marks from college, and others are just, you know, young lads that want to learn about cars. And they're completely different, right? Because I had one apprentice who was like that, and he'd get on, he'd only need to be told once, get on and do it and stuff. And the guy that had all the grade A's from college, he had a big ratchet set. You could hear his ratchet going click, 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 you know, trying to unwind the bolt that you could do with your fingers.
Yes.
Oh my God, there's no common sense there.
Yeah.
Well, and so go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say is I kind of fell between the two of you because I went through school, but I also worked in a family business from the time I was very young, like 13. So when I went to college, I started taking marketing, and I was like, this isn't how it works. Like this doesn't make any,
Yes.
like I had to drop it because I said, you know, so that real world experience, you can't, And that's how they did it for so many centuries, with apprenticeships and, learning from someone who did it, whatever the field was. So this whole college thing, like you said, there's a necessity to that degree, but how do you do it? And thankfully my daughter, especially my older one, she kind of calls it all the time. She's like, this is bullshit, but I need that degree and I'm just doing it. So she's got like her eyes open about what's going on. But it takes the parents to tell them. And thank God my kids both got really, almost full scholarships, because it wasn't.
My daughter got a full ride scholarship too, $108,000. But this is the problem. She got in there, got halfway through that school and said, Dad, this is not what I want to be doing.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is what I'm going to say to you guys. This is the sovereignty aspect. Americans, and in general, humanity is so short-sighted because you're constantly being barraged on TV, social media, marketing is just constantly hammering you. Apprenticeship programs, you didn't get paid. You went and you were an apprentice under somebody that you'd be lucky if they'd house you and feed you. But that was your apprenticeship program, where you were there just a little helper and you learned, but you really learned. You didn't just get taught enough to be stupid still. You learned all the tricks of the trade. And so now the way that they do education is that you're going to pay this exorbitant amount of money, and you're going to come and you're under the thought process that you're going to learn. No, you are going to learn their system. And it's not just what you're trying to learn. You're going to learn how to operate in their financial system the way they want you to know. You're going to operate in their tax system the way they want you to know, which is all of it's very minimal of what's really going on. You're going to operate under this CPA that tells you how you have to operate in the system. Because let me go back to this major point. Your birth certificate turns you into a sole proprietor. Yeah. How do you go into business right now? Under their system, you're either a sole proprietor, is your first option, an LLC, which gives you limited liability. It doesn't all fall back on you. You have this little protection bubble you're creating, an S Corp or a C Corp or a 501c3, 501c4 nonprofit. All of them are taxable to some extent. But those are your only options. But they don't tell you you can have a PMA, a private membership association, tax-free, operates in the private, operates outside of their system. CPAs don't even know anything about them. If you guys remember, I don't know if you guys knew Costco. Well, Costco now. Do you guys have a Costco membership?
Not anymore.
Okay. Costco used to be 7 different companies. Price Club was one of them. I can't remember what the names of the other 6 were, but Price Club was what we had here in Utah.
DJs and
something like that. There were 7 different companies that were all bought up by Costco. Okay. And then of course Sam's Club came on the scene because Costco was such a boon for everybody that they wanted to bring a rival out to Costco. So Walmart created Sam's Club, where you can buy wholesale pricing, but that's not how it was originally set up. It was you joined this private membership so that you could go in and get wholesale pricing on all the goods that they sold, and they just brought it in like a warehouse. And you went and picked out of what the big boxes were, your little packages, and they broke it down for you like that. Well, private membership associations are tax-free. They don't tell you about that because they're private. They're not in the public.
Right.
So when you create a company, they teach you how to create it in the public, so you have to pay taxes. You have to get a CPA. You have to use a lawyer or, well, an attorney. Lawyer's different. People don't know that lawyer's different. They use these things interchangeably. A lawyer is an attorney is a lawyer. No, they're not. An attorney practices legal to a turn, to take from one and give to another. A lawyer practices constitutional law, protecting you against the government.
Well, technically, but that's not how it all is in our society.
Because they've blurred the whole lines together and call them the same thing.
Yeah.
And so we are held accountable to common law, is what the republic was promised to us, a constitutional republic under common law. We haven't had that republic since 8 years after its inception, and we haven't had common law. We've had admiralty maritime law.
So you're saying
Which
from 1791 approximately? Is that kind of when everything?
Correct.
Yeah.
In 1871, it turned into a corporation.
The Organic Act. Yeah.
And what is a corporation? Not government. It's legal. Everything right now. So, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. But once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Yeah.
Attorneys practice legal. Lawyers practice lawful. A constitutional republic under common law is lawful. Admiralty maritime law, contracts and commerce is legal. So there's some questions that I'll ask you guys. Who has rights in America?
The attorneys, I guess, with the courts.
No. Okay. So let's go back. Who does the Constitution apply to?
Well, we the people?
No. Constitution applies to government. It's what restrains the government. It puts them in a little square. They cannot step out of that square. If they do step out of that square, you can now sue the government for stepping out of that square. Who does the Bill of Rights apply to?
The people.
Correct. We the people. Who does the Declaration of Independence that they never teach us about, who does that apply to?
The people?
We the people. Yeah. Because it gave you a duty in the Declaration of Independence that this government that doesn't no longer work for us, we can throw off the shackles of this government and create new government. But do we? No. Because through the 14th Amendment, the only people that have rights. Who are people? Man. Now, I know a lot of women. What? So women don't have rights? No. Man means mankind. Man, woman, child. Mm-hmm. But they created this feminist movement to get us all riled up over here fighting about stuff that we don't need to be fighting about. Now the gays and the transgenders are fighting about stuff that they don't need to be fighting about. Well, I'm really a woman, but I'm a man. So guess what they're doing? Giving up any possibility that they have as rights. Because you're claiming something that you're actually not. Yeah. They're actually hurting themselves.
Yeah.
Because now you seem incompetent. So people have rights, but guess what you are?
A corporation.
A person.
Oh, right.
You're
a person.
Yeah.
What's a person? A corporate fictional entity created by this government. So they took away your rights. They freed the slaves in the 13th Amendment. Then they created the 14th Amendment, which made everybody citizens of the United States in all capital letters. Because capital letters and upper and lowercase mean something. They're not just writing. All capital letters United States is a corporation. Yeah. So they took you, turned you into a corporation, then made you a citizen of the United States, which is a corporation that's located in Washington, D.C., which Washington, D.C. is a territory, not even part of the Republic, United States for America. So now you are in Washington, D.C. is where you live. You reside in New York. I reside in Utah. You're not a state citizen, therefore you don't have any rights. You have privileges. So when people go into the court system, which is...
Yeah, when I took my I had to... The privileges, it's really important. People should realize this. I went to take, to lower my car insurance. So I took the test, and they ask you very specifically on that test, is driving a right or a privilege? And I said, right. And it marked me wrong that it's a privilege. And I thought,
correct,
wow,
correct. And let me tell you why. I get in fights with people on Facebook, any social media, because we've been stripped of our knowledge and we've been indoctrinated. So they're like, no, I have a right. No, you don't, idiot. You have a privilege. So when they tell you, when they're asking you the question, do you have a right to drive or a privilege? And you say, I have a right. No, you're a person, which doesn't have privileges. You already claimed in every one of your documents, through a loan, through your mortgage on your house, through everything you've ever done, are you a United States citizen? Check the box. Yes, I am. And they've indoctrinated us to think that's the next best thing to apple pie and baseball is, well, it's better than apple pie and baseball is a United States citizen. But what you're actually doing is putting shackles on yourself.
Yeah.
Because now you're just confirming that the birth certificate turns you into a person. You're confirming that you are that person, document after document after document, putting you in their jurisdiction. Jurisdiction isn't a court. It's whether it's common law, canon law, admiralty maritime law, which is where they've got you in that jurisdiction, admiralty maritime law. You're not a man, therefore you don't have the right to travel. And you haven't said that I am a man.
Yes.
And they've gotten all the women to think, no, I'm not a man, I'm a woman. Wrong. They've stolen our language, they've stolen our numeric system, they've stolen our education from us. And it just goes farther and farther and farther. I talk to people, I'll sit there, and even my own family, they think I'm nuts. But they're
We're all part of the same nuts club. Don't worry about it.
They're starting to recognize, like, this is so overwhelming. It's like, oh, I said, yeah, it's like drinking through a fire hose. The wrongs that they've done to us are so beyond repair, it's going to take generations. So we've got to start educating the kids now while we're educating the adults.
You know, I'm so happy that you're on here talking to this, because even when you think about check the box, a U.S. citizen, people think it means, oh yeah, you know, I'm not from another country. I'm not British. I'm not German. Yeah, I'm from the U.S., right? When we check those boxes, not knowing what the implication of the language and what it's saying. And
correct.
Nobody really knows. This is a real problem, okay? And it's why I love what you do, that the average person, even the awake, you know, I'm not going to say awake like us, but awake to the fact that they get there's corruption, they're not buying into the media, you know, they still don't understand this very important stuff.
They're just stirring.
Yeah,
they're just kind of waking up out of their sleep, like everything's broken. Yeah. What's going on? I don't get
what the hell is going on. So how do we, you know, I want you to talk more about this, and we have some questions, but what do we do? You know, because that's always me. Like, I'm always like solutions person. Like, okay, this is the problem. I get it. I could sit here and bitch for, you know, the next 20 years about it. But now, what do we practically do to get out of this or that? Or are there ways to do that? Or are we just screwed, you know?
I'll just add to that quickly as well. The reason all this legalese is so difficult to understand is so that people don't read it. And so they just do tick the box or accept the terms when they download a new app and all these sorts of things. Is because there's so much crap now. People just want to get on, you know? And they
Okay, let me add to what you just said. There is no such thing as legalese. We need to stop using that term. There's only legal and lawful.
Yeah.
Legal is contract law, commerce law. Lawful is mankind.
Yeah.
Period. End of conversation. There is no legalese. Yes, that is the term that people use to equate their verbiage that they use in Black's Law Dictionary and Bouvier's dictionary. Bouvier's is used by, my understanding is Bouvier's dictionary is used by the Supreme Court. Black's Law Dictionary is used by the attorneys and the lawyers. So when I say they took our language from us, they speak in a completely different language than you and I speak.
Yeah.
Completely and entirely different. And you don't even understand when you go into the court system how different that language is.
Yeah.
Their words don't mean what our words mean.
Unless you are like, you're exposed to that and awakened, and then you start picking it up and seeing it and understand. But I will tell you, just to add to this, we talk about lawyers, attorneys, whatever, it's all mixed now. when I speak to lawyers, there's so many of them because I coach people through divorce, and trying to, move on with their lives, etc. And I love, I don't love it, but I'm being sarcastic. I love when some of the lawyers who are really nice, some of them are nice people. A lot of them belong at the bottom of, the ocean, but some of them are actually nice. And they'll say, you know what I love? I love the formality of going into court. And I love the way the judge, and I'm thinking to myself, you love being
Ego.
a fucking prisoner. No, but you love being a prisoner because even though you may have stature when you go in, you're still a victim of the system and you don't even see it.
So you know how the FBI is totally corrupt?
Yeah.
And then you got Kash Patel, you got Donald Trump, you got all the politicians, but there's still good people in the FBI. We're talking only a few of them are corrupt. No. Every fucking one of them. Sorry for my language. Every politician's corrupt. Every FBI agent is corrupt. Every damn CIA agent is corrupt. Everybody playing in this system is corrupt. Everyone. Let me tell you why. Because they are all operating in a system that they know wrongs are going on, but they don't say anything. None of them do. We have a system set up where we are being led down a path. This is what's called railroaded, whether you're railroaded by FBI or police or whoever is railroading you into a court system. There are no crimes unless there's victims.
Right.
All crimes are commercial. All crimes are commercial. When you go into a court, Black's Law Dictionary, you look up court, it says see bank. Judge, see banker. Court clerk, see bank teller. Courts are just banks, guys.
Yeah.
It's all commerce. They're all buying and selling you and trading you through bonds. Yeah. Bonds are created up in the court system. Your case has a bond number. You have bonds that are related to your name that were pledged by the International Monetary Fund to your birth certificate that went into an account called a Cesta K Trust. Every time you go into court, they milk that account that you don't even know you have that's got billions, if not tens of billions, if not hundreds of billions by the time you're 80. This is why you have to go through probate at the end of your life, so that they can take all of your purchases that you've made through your life that are tied to your Social Security number. And this is important. That's tied to your Social Security number. That's how they're creating a checks and balances on you. So that when you die, they come to your debit side and say, okay, has he paid off all of his debts? Through probate, they're going to milk that account of yours, your estate, everything you own. These attorneys that are working on your probate are going to siphon all the money they can out of that account to pay their fees. They're going to determine what bills you owe, what hasn't been paid off in your lifetime, what did you skip out through credit, through whatnot. They're going to now liquidate your estate to pay this off. If there's anything that's left over in a negative, they're going to come over to that column that you don't know about. That's the credit side of who you are. They're going to take that money out and pay that off. That's going to zero your account off. No different than an accountant would do to a company.
Right.
Everything
Unless
that's
you have
left.
a trust, though. I mean, because if you have a trust, that avoids probate.
Correct. And I'm going to go through that because my
Okay.
mother, we're doing that right now.
Everybody
So
needs
this
to.
is all about the sovereignty stuff.
Yeah.
It's not this claim your estate national. It's not any of this other bullshit like David Straight was teaching, even though David Straight and I worked together for a couple of years. So now what they do is they come through to your account. They zero everything out that's in your life because you're now dead. Now we zeroed your account. That money that's left in that Cesta K Trust keeps on getting bought and sold, bought and sold, bought and sold into perpetuity till the end of time, till the end of earth. That's what those definitions are. Perpetuity is till the end of time. Till the end of time is the end of the earth. Everything above and beyond the time that you died, Congress gets to scrape all that off the top. So if when I checked my account, because there was an there was a website that you could go to called gmeiutility.com.
Yeah. I was just going to mention that. I've been on that myself and had a look at all the companies that
Okay,
were
so
trading
in
on.
2020, when I first started, this is August of 2020 was the first time I met David Straight. It's my first seminar I went to. And it's just so funny because God has a mysterious way of putting me in all the right places at all the right times with all the right people. And I'm just a guy contractor from Utah. My
Like
cousin
for
in
all of us.
April of 2020, my cousin sent me a video. And it was this guy talking about how CPS and this whole court system works. And because I've been through this judicial blender with my daughter, they've come after me for every single thing that they could possibly come after me for, because men have the rights to the child, not the women. We don't get that. They don't show us that because they lock the men down financially in every other way, because the child is the heir to the man. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
This feminist system that they created is a distraction. So the man has claim to the child. They flipped the script on us and created it so the woman has claim to the child because she's the mother. Okay? No offense against women. I'm just telling you how the system really works.
But wait,
So
let
they
me ask
locked.
you, because in the court system here, it's always traditionally been the mother, because the mother's staying home with the child. So you're not going to scar the kid and rip him away from a mother. I mean, if you're talking practical, right? No.
Is what they created. Yes, you're right. Because
Well-
now let me
Yeah.
add to what you just said. Because we are incapable of taking care of our affairs, they are going to settle your issues for you. Because the husband and the wife are incapable of coming to terms on what's best for this child. So the government's going to come in and tell you who's going to be who, playing what role, and how you're going to play it, and who's going to pay what. Does that make sense? Because we can't come together and say, I'm going to stop being a dipshit, asshole husband or wife, and I'm going to stop being a naggy, bitchy wife that wants everything for nothing, and you take care of me for the rest of my life because I gave birth to these children, so I'm due something. So the government steps in and says, I'm going to put this judge in place, and this judge is going to decide. So they created a system where judges are deciding, attorneys are making buku dollars over your guys' little feud.
$800 to $1,000 an hour for divorce lawyers here in New York.
Because not you, I'm saying because these people can't get their heads out of their asses as to what's best for the child. So then they're going to charge you all these fees for this child family services to step in and determine what's going to happen and who's going to get what, because people can't get their heads out of their asses.
Yeah.
And guess what? When you got married and you applied for that license, guess what you did?
You brought the state
You
in as a
now
partner.
brought the government into your affairs.
That's right.
You just said, hey, we are a business together.
Yeah.
And well, guess what? The government owns everything because you've been turned into chattel property. Think of yourself like cattle.
Yeah.
But you're chattel. So you are property of the government. So the government is now gave you a license. You're not married to your spouse. You're married. It's a triangle, guys.
Yep.
The bottom of the triangle is a dashed line. That's God. You think you're getting married under God and all this other religion bullshit. No, you as the woman is getting married to the government. The husband is getting married to the government. And through the government, you will settle your affairs.
Yeah.
And there's a way not to do that. You don't want to be married under the government.
Right.
Why would you ask for a license to marry the person you love?
Yeah.
There's a whole way to do that. I could teach you how to do that. However, now you've got a court system that handles family affairs, and all those judges are making all their retirement is based on this child protective services and child services of the court system. So all that money you're paying to pay your child support and all that shit through this court system is going to pay for their retirement.
Yeah. Now, I don't know how it works throughout the country, but I'm very familiar with New York system. And depending on how your agreement is or what you decide, it doesn't always go through that system, because
Correct.
if you are able to negotiate and say, okay, I'll pay this amount and you'll do this, and this is the visitation, and we kind of, even if it's adversarial, but you get to an agreement.
If you can come to an agreement
Right.
that is acceptable by the other side, and you can put your signature on the dotted line saying,
Exactly.
I agree to, the court will stay out of it.
However, I would say that there's a pretty huge percentage, okay, of people who sign, yes, I agree, and case in point, and the other party decides, well, I'm above the agreement, so I don't have to follow it. So then what happens is you now have to go back into the court system and say, here's this agreement, and they have to then make the decisions. And most times, the person that is being hurt gets screwed even more. Just happens. I've just seen it enough. It just happens more and more, because the people that are supposed to be protecting you and advocating for you really don't. And the court system just wants to push the cases through. They just want to push it through. They don't give a shit who's being hurt. They don't, just like, this is what I'm going to stamp.
Do you want to know
it's
why?
disgusting.
Do you want to know why?
Yes, why? But go ahead.
Because
tell
every
us.
time you go into that court system, they create a bond that is attached to your case that goes out and gets traded on the stock market. They're making money on the backside that you don't even, so they don't care.
They don't care at all.
They don't. So going back to the triangle, guys, there's a patent on marriage. It's literally a triangle. There's a patent on, a government patent on marriage. Government at the top, husband at the bottom left. It may be reversed how I'm saying this to you guys. The wife is on the bottom right. The husband is joined to the government. The wife is adjoined to the government. The bottom line is a dashed line, which if you look on a set of architectural plans, a dashed line is a non-load bearing beam. God doesn't exist in your marriage.
Right.
Even though you went and said your vows under God, blah, 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 all this other bullshit, because they put religion of man, in to confuse you, not spirituality. You went and got married under the government because that's all you've been taught all your life.
Yeah,
I have to
you
go
need
get
the
a marriage
license.
license.
And then the church
to go get
says, here's your license, because we're going to now, put this ceremony, and then we won't even get into all the control.
And then we're going to give this
church.
guy, because he went through our little training, we're going to give him a certificate that says that he can perform marriages.
Right.
It's all the system. You don't need to go through that system. What you need to do, this is why the Bible, guys, and again, you'll never see me dumping religion on you. You will see me speaking about spirituality. The Bible's been changed so many times, so I'm questioning, which Bible are we talking about here? However, in the Bible, do you remember that there's blank pages in the front and blank pages in the back?
Yeah.
What are those pages for?
To record events.
To record
or marriages.
what? Yeah. How about your contracts? If you get a loan, so
That's
help
what
you
it's
God,
for?
you're going to pay it back. You're going to document your children's births in that Bible. You're going to document your marriage in that Bible. See, so this is the system that's outside of their system that they set up so that they can trap you. It's all about the difference between public is their system, where you're a person, your property, everything's recorded, everything's out in the open. You just don't recognize all these corporations are scavenging your information now. We're starting to realize now how their data is the new gold. Mm-hmm. But you can go completely into the private where nobody knows anything about you. Why should they know anything about you? We don't know anything about these politicians or anything about these corporations, but they certainly know everything about us.
Yeah.
what products we use, what we think, who we're related to, who our friends are, where we go to, the geographical grid that we travel. We're absolutely not in the private. So how do you get yourself to the private? Through trusts. It's not by claiming you're a state national. That's all bullshit. It's by taking yourself into the private and fixing everything that you've done. But how do you fix what you've done? You can't.
Mm-hmm.
There's certain ways that you can go about taking back the contracts you've done or negating the contracts you've done, but that's a lot of work. So what a lot of people refer it to as the straw man, your all caps name.
Yeah.
It's not a straw man. It's called an ens legis, ENSLEGIS. That's what's tied to your Cesta K trust. So then
what
what
does this idea of straw man come into play? Like, why is that?
Well, because it's
is it just an expression?
kind of like legal. It's the expression of legalese. It's a term they use to describe something, but it really doesn't exist. There's only legal or lawful. A straw man is not really a straw man. They're explaining something. They're calling it a straw man because it's not you. It's the image that they've taken over and created that is you because you accept it. And all your life you've said, yes, I'm the all caps name. Every time you show up in the court, the very first thing that judge says, state your name and address for the record.
Yep.
Have you ever wondered why he does that? Because on his computer screen, it's all your details, all your information, any tickets, anything you've got going on. And so he's sitting in a position where he has to gain jurisdiction. Okay. So the first thing he does, state your name for the record. Benjamin Thomas Barlow. Yep, that's them. I give my address. Yep. And once I give my zip code, that locks me in that I am a citizen of the United States Corporation because they did a zip code overlay over the United States that tied us through the Postal Service to Washington, D.C. This is where, as kids, I learned this as a kid. Again, I'm 57 years old. You were supposed to put brackets around your zip code. Why a bracket? The bracket removes jurisdiction. It's the four corner rule. If you're reading a contract and they put brackets around a certain section or a square around something as you're reading the contract, let's say that the verbiage in that contract gave you all this privilege. As soon as you sign that contract, any privilege that you got within that square doesn't exist in the contract. It doesn't exist. It's not part of the contract. But you signed it thinking this whole contract applies to me. Legally, they can't do anything because they got to abide by the contract. Well, without your knowledge, that portion of the contract doesn't exist. It's called the four corner rule.
Wow.
So there's all kinds of things that we need to learn. There's all kinds of things that have been stolen from us because we've been indoctrinated into a system that just keeps us like sheep following this Judas goat down this system to the end. Your mortgage. Mortgage is a death pledge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You never own your mortgage. So in the late 1800s, starting in the early 1900s, they created a warranty deed. A warranty deed grants you the financial interest to occupy the property that's on the land. Notice how I said that. Let me say it plainly. The warranty deed grants you the financial interest to the bricks and mortar that's on the land. It does not grant you ownership of the land. It grants you a financial interest to gain profit or incur debt. You don't own it. The county owns it. Your mortgage was paid off as soon as you signed that promissory note.
Right.
You signed a future contract and a promissory note. Foreclosure is illegal in the United States. But by you signing that contract, you agreed that they could sell your home on the county court steps if you didn't pay your payments. Right? So then, when you don't pay your payments, they're going to send you through a process and they're going to foreclose on you and they're going to sell your home on the county court steps because the county owns your land. But your promissory note paid off your home as soon as they turned that promissory note into the treasury. The mortgage company and the banks took your promissory note and turned it into the treasury. And they got that amount, which paid off your home, which now allowed the county to create a warranty deed, certificate of title. It's not the title, it's certificate of title. So your house was paid off. The county now owns your house. You know how when you pay off your car, you get the title?
Mm-hmm.
You don't get the title to your home. They always hold on to your title. And if you don't pay your taxes, they're going to foreclose and sell your house. You never own your home. So they got the amount for your loan paid to the county. Well, it paid off your home, paid to the county. County now owns it. And they got 9 times that amount to loan out to the public.
Right.
So who's the bank?
The central bank. The Federal
But who's
Reserve.
really the bank?
The Vatican?
No, who creates the money? They print the money. They print the money. So let's go back to 1932. Americans have a hard time looking back 2 years, let alone 5 years, let alone 30 years, let alone 100 years.
Right.
1932, they turned all hospitals into foundling locations. A foundling location, you see it. The fire department has this nice little box. If you find a baby, go put it in the box and they'll take care of the baby and make sure it gets a good home. Have you ever seen those commercials? A foundling location is any government agency, any police, anything. It used to be just the hospitals. So in 1932, they turned all hospitals into foundling locations, which means every birth that went on in those hospitals since 1932 were given back to the state. You no longer were property of your parents. You're now property of the state. 1933, they repealed all the gold. Gold and silver is the only real money, and they created currency. Right? 1933, we went through the Great Depression. They had already created the Federal Reserve in 1913. So they're the ones handling all of our money, printing all of our money. 1933, they took away all the gold under threat of a $10,000 fine and 10 years in prison, which that was a ton of money back then. Depression. So they took away real money. They gave us fiat currency. It's our signatures that allows them to print money, guys. It's your signature on your promissory note. It's your signature on your credit cards. It's your signature on your auto loans, on your mortgages. Every time we sign something, it allows them to print that much more money.
So can I ask you a question? If we believe that the Federal Reserve and the U.S. corporation has been taken down, and that...
Has it, though?
Well, I think there's a lot of good evidence that says it has. I don't think they've announced it. I don't think they have enabled, you still have all the rules in place. But I think there's some good indication that this whole war that we're in really does come down to two things. It comes down to collapsing the central banking system around the world and, saving the children, right? We won't get into the children part of it.
That's what we've been told.
So I guess what I'm saying is we've been told that we can search certain things. There's proof if you go to certain government. I know they can fake all that, but I'm just saying, so what is your opinion that it's a lie?
I was a hardcore Trumper before anybody was even for Trump.
Will probably make sense.
I've been watching Trump since I was a little kid on Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. Yeah. I pushed Trump hardcore in the 2016 election.
Mm-hmm.
Trump was anti-Zionist, not taking any of Israel's money or the Zionist money. Trump in this election has taken nothing but Zionist money. I'm going to say the juice box for a keyword. Hopefully you pick up what I'm saying. The Zionists have always controlled the money.
Mm-hmm.
The Khazarians, do you know who the Khazarians are?
Yeah, of course.
Khazarian Mafia, yeah.
Have always, through history, been kicked out of every country because they stole money.
Yeah, and identities, yeah.
They were rich. They controlled all the money. They were the banking across the world. They were the banks. Mm-hmm. The bankers of Judea declared war on Germany 8 years before Germany was in the war, World War II, because Germany was kicking them out of Germany. Who kicked them out before they were in Germany? Russia. 1903, they kicked them all out of Russia. They went to Germany because Germany accepted them in. The Bolshevik Revolution came to Russia by who? The juice box. They were all Jews.
Yeah.
Even 130,000, I think, is the number, Jews served in the German military against the Bolsheviks. Yeah. We've never been taught any of this stuff. We've never been told any of this stuff because anybody speaks up about this stuff, they immediately get shut down.
Anti-Semitic.
Look at Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
His ass got shut down because he came out finally. I didn't support Charlie Kirk. I was so against Charlie Kirk. And then in the last 8 months, he started switching, and I had to come out on social media and say, okay, I can now be in Charlie Kirk's camp. Because I've done the research.
what if this is a military operation, which there's a lot of evidence? You're not going to, there's going to be a lot of things that have to be done in order to infiltrate and take down these organizations. You can't just come out and say what the truth is. People have to be set up. I'm not even, I know a lot of people have a lot of emotions. I'm not even
sure. Okay, so you just said a key phrase right there.
Yeah.
People have to be set up. Guys, they have known that this banking system has been on life support for 40 plus years. Anybody who came out with something that competed against them, a better system from them, they didn't assimilate to the better system. They killed them.
Of course.
Straight killed them. So they've known
how do you take
that
a system like that down?
Hold on. They've been known, because they're doing usury. They're bleeding us dry. Every country they're bleeding dry. This is why, in my opinion, this is why they want to get Iran under control. Iran has a central banking system. It's just not their central banking system. So they want to come in with the IMF and do the birth certificate process and all this other bullshit that they've done to every other country so that they can set these countries up with all these loans, put the people in the workplace. This is how we got a global economy. They've done this country after country after country after country.
Yes.
Where did they get the jobs? Because there's not that many jobs in the world. First, it was Germany and France. Well, those jobs all left Germany and France, America. Then America was getting too powerful, so now we had to spread it out and give these other countries that were, where's all the clothing? China, Vietnam, Laos, all those countries got clothing. India and those countries got spices. I mean, they spread this global economy out on purpose so that they could exploit all these countries, so that they could get a toehold in these countries and then go in and exploit these countries. Mm-hmm. While giving them so many loans and so much money by force that made the dictators and all the politicians rich, and it enslaved their nation. That's the whole point, guys. If you read Confessions of an Economic Hitman, which is on Audible, it tells you how the whole petrodollar worked.
Yeah.
The petrodollar agreement just came up. It was a 70-year agreement. It just ended October of last year. I think it was October of last year. So their whole central banking system is on the verge of bust.
Yeah.
So to think objectively about this world and how they've trapped us, you've got a system that before the Bolsheviks came in, they got all the Russian patriots to just relax. It's all under control. Everything's okay. And the Bolsheviks came in and brought communism into their country.
Yeah.
And ruined those people. 60 plus million people. And nobody knows what the number is because it's barely coming out now. 60 plus million Christians died in the Bolshevik Revolution, but we're talking about 6 million juice box? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Well, but let's be real. We call them the Bolsheviks, but it's really the Khazarians. It's always the Khazarians that have been in control. So, and you can also
who are the Khazarians?
Well, we know that
from Ukraine, Eastern European Jews that paraded as Ashkenazi Jews.
That's right.
Down into Germany and France as the coin changers. Sent his children to all the other countries to be the coin changers of those countries, the Rothschilds, who then created Israel in 1948. And now, which I believe is a base to create all the mayhem in that eastern region. And it's never been okay.
Well,
now, why did they do it? Why did they do it there? Because they don't even believe in Jesus Christ.
No.
They don't believe in Jesus Christ, so why would they want the Holy Land, guys?
Yeah.
Why? Why would they want the Holy Land? Why would they claim that they have bloodline access to the Holy Land? Because they don't. So they could create dissension amongst everybody. They want one world religion. They want one world government.
I do want that, yeah.
Then they created the United Nations. You guys know about the NSA, right? National Security Administration. You know they got a big building here in Utah, right?
Yeah.
Massive building in Utah. Who deciphers all the NSA information? It's illegal for our government to capture information and decipher it. So who do they have decipher it? Israel. Who's the number one spy of America? Israel. Who's our ally? Israel. How can you be a spy and an ally at the same fucking time? You can't.
Right.
Who have we fought all wars on behalf of? Israel.
Yeah, Israel.
Since 1992 and probably earlier, Netanyahu has been saying, Iran is 6 months from a nuclear weapon. 1992. Yeah. We're 25. Since 1992, he's been saying that shit. Yeah. Could be a year, could be 6 months, could be a year. But they've got access. Then we go into Iraq on behalf of Israel. Who took down our World Trade Towers? I'm going to leave that up to everybody else to figure out, but we already know it didn't get hit by planes.
It was 5 of them dancing, wasn't there?
There's 5 buildings that went down. 5.
Yeah.
Not just 2. And the third one is where they had everything that took all the rest of them down. They walked out and took it down.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Well, I 100% agree with you and all that. But what we've seen over the last 8 years is, and I do believe they are being dismantled piece by piece. Maybe Trump is taking money, or maybe Trump.
So let me ask you this.
Maybe Trump's confiscating money.
And I love Trump. I love Trump, guys. I think Trump and Putin and Xi Jinping are working together.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
My best hope is that Putin, Trump, and Xi Jinping are working together to eradicate the deep state, which is the Jews. Sorry, I don't care if it,
140.
which is, now when we say Jews, that's like a blanket term.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for the good Jews.
Yeah.
Yeah, so do we.
I'm speaking specifically to the Khazarian bloodline that's evil, the satanic, that wants to control the world, that has controlled the money supply. That's who I'm speaking to when I say that.
And we are too.
Their tentacles are everywhere, aren't they?
And so if it just so happens that Trump and Xi Jinping and Putin are working together. Have you guys ever seen Lord of the Rings? I keep on coming back to this with everybody. You seen Lord of the Rings?
I actually haven't.
Okay, you got to see that movie.
All right, that's on my watch list now. I will make sure I see it.
Lord of the Rings goes in. Well, Game of Thrones tells you how government has worked since the dawn of time, if you watch Game of Thrones. It's the same shit going on to this day. But Lord of the Rings, one ring was created, and then a whole slew of rings were created that was controlled by the one ring. 7 rings were given to the kings of men, 7 rings were given to the kings of elves, 7 rings were given to the kings of the dwarfs, and 7 rings, just on and on and on, and this one ring controlled them all. They ultimately fight the bad guy, his finger gets cut off that has the ring on it, it drops down, the king was killed, his son grabs the ring. His son takes the ring and puts it around his neck in a necklace because it's so big that it cannot fit on a mortal man's hand. The elf king finds out he's got the ring and he's like, look, we got to take that back to Mordor where all these rings were created, which is a mountain full of lava. And we've got to throw it back into Mordor in the lava from whence it came. The elf king and this now new king goes to the mountain. They go inside the mountain. The lava's down there. All he has to do is take that damn ring and throw it in, and everybody's going to be free in the world. And in the other worlds, right? What does he do? His ego comes into control because he's a mortal man, and he puts the frickin' ring on because he wants to control them all. Is Trump really working on behalf of all of us? Is Xi Jinping actually working on behalf of all of us? Is Putin working on behalf of all of us? Or are they working to now control everybody in their own little realm?
I mean, that's a very good question, but I don't believe that any of those 3 people you just mentioned are at the top anyway. Even
no,
on
we know they're not at the top.
So I don't know that. Let me put it this way: they are the public face of, say, good, for lack of, and I'm not really sure that they actually have the power. So we're still talking about a structure that we don't actually see.
Correct.
And so
let's go back to, we're waiting on the military. Who created the vaccine? DARPA. What's DARPA connected to? The military.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, guys, when the founding fathers came here, and we've been indoctrinated to believe all this stuff that they came here for, the people that came to America didn't want to be governed.
Right.
There's no need to govern a good people.
Mm-hmm.
But they came and they instituted a government anyway, because they fought for their independence after they got so sick of the British soldiers doing their bullshit, because through the Northeast Indian Trading Company and all these other trading companies that were operating and are still operating in the world today, controlling everything on behalf of the king. Guys, we've always been under control of the crown. We never have not been under control of the crown and the Vatican. Ever. Even to this day, this is what the battle's over. So when we fought the War of Independence over bullshit that they've told us, tea and taxes, no, it was over money. The founding fathers created their own money. They weren't using the bankers over there in England. So they were pissed. They went to the king and said, hey, you better go bring them under control. We're not making any money. Therefore, you can't make any money. So he came here. He got his ass handed to him. We lost a lot of people. Other countries fought on our behalf or helped us.
Including the Russians.
And the king left. And the king left all of his soldiers here rather than take them back like we supposedly did in Afghanistan and Iraq, although we left all this private military over there. But the king didn't take all of his soldiers back. He left them here as what?
Governors.
Governmental services to the people of America. So who the fuck became our government?
The
Britain.
British.
Yeah.
Nothing changed, but we all thought it changed. We
also incurred so much debt, right?
Yeah.
Because of the debt. So that, comes back to money. So that was another reason, because we were pretty bankrupt.
Why did we incur so much debt? Because the Khazarians were on that side fomenting all that bullshit. They're on this side fomenting all this bullshit. And in between, we're fighting a war that they're making money on both sides. And they're just mucking up the shit. And we all fall prey to it.
So what makes you think, I'm just curious, that a lot of the, quote, military actions that, we've been sort of told, those of us who search, those of us who follow Q, and we're looking at the breadcrumbs, and of course the bad guys can look at that too, right? So, but
Correct.
What makes you think that these Rothschilds and these people at the top of the food chain, the Vatican, have not been taken down? We've been given so many clues. We have, the gold coming back, walking in front of the holograms of the Pope. Is he really there? Where's his arm? All that kind of stuff. So,
walking in front of the Queen and the King.
Right.
So no, and these are all clues that yes, they have made maneuvers and they have chopped off the legs of the crown. Yes, they've done all that. Yes. The European Union. This is why I believe Greenland is in play for takeover, because Greenland cannot defend itself. Denmark cannot defend Greenland without the EU. The EU cannot defend Greenland without NATO. NATO cannot defend, none of them can defend any of themselves or anybody else without the United States. None of them. So let's go back to what you were saying. Trump did this and Trump did that. How do you know that system? Or when we say Trump, Trump's a figurehead of a whole group.
Right.
Trump is a figurehead of a whole group. I don't know if you guys could hear it. Was that ringing coming through on my phone? Okay. No. I just want to make sure you guys couldn't hear that. Trump is a figurehead. Trump was brought forward to, number one, take the United States out of receivership that we've been sitting in forever. You realize that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We've been in a bankruptcy since 1871, which means we are in receivership, and they've just been milking our country steadily over time, selling off all of our property assets. All of our national parks are owned by UNESCO. There's nothing that's owned by us because we are bankrupt. They've never taken us through receivership because they don't want to take us through receivership. So Trump was brought in to take us through that receivership and finalize the bankruptcy. He was also brought in to bring a new financial system in, my opinion. That new financial system is the cryptos, the digital currencies. Because, guys, there's only one kind of money.
Gold and silver.
That's right.
Gold, silver, things that come out of the ground.
Yeah.
That's God's money. They've created, like Lucifer, the devil, creates a copycat, currencies, cryptos, all this other stuff. I'm not saying Bitcoin and stuff is bad. And I get in arguments with Bitcoin guys all the time. Bitcoin's not transferable, or it's not trackable. You can be non-existent. They won't ever be able to find it. Yeah, that's true until you spend it.
Yeah.
And then they can certainly see the blockchain. The blockchain is not incognito.
Mhm.
So you can have 1 billion Bitcoin, and as long as you just sit on it, yeah, they can't see it. But the moment you buy something with it, they can automatically see it.
Yeah.
Then it becomes taxable. What did Trump create, guys? The IRS is going away, right?
Mhm.
That's the Internal Revenue Service. And the Internal Revenue Service was what?
A Puerto Rican corporation.
The collection arm of the Federal Reserve.
Yeah.
The Federal Reserve is the central banks.
Yep.
So rather than corporations paying taxes, they flip the taxes onto all the American people. Would you rather have a little bit of money, or would you rather have a big amount of money from all the corporations, which is not that many, or a little bit of money from 300, 400 million people? The results are going to be huge by taking a little bit of money from everybody, slowly bleeding them to death. There was never supposed to be an Internal Revenue Service. So they created the External Revenue Service. So you got all these people that have this Bitcoin and they're wealthy, so they're leaving the United States. I'm going here and I'm going there. Why do you think they created the External Revenue Service? To go after those people that are expatriating money out of the United States? Don't you think that's really what's going on? So that they can latch on to everybody outside of this country? And how did they get all that already implemented through the Patriot Act to control all the banking around the world? All these things that they've implemented, Americans are so short-sighted, they don't see what they've done. And once a government puts in a law, they don't take away the law. They just add more to it to get to the end that they want to get to through the means that they need to do to get to that end.
Yeah.
Everything's still in play. Do I think Trump's a good guy? I hope and pray that Trump is on the side of God. But I can't support Trump when he supports Zionism and Israel and the Khazarians.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm against Trump. I'm just side-eyeing Trump saying, okay, are you playing possum with these guys or did you switch sides?
Right. Of course. And I think that's what everybody has to have common sense and think. We can't put anybody up on a pedestal as if they're above the corruption that we've seen. So you're absolutely right.
And what have we done here in America? What has everybody done in every country? God created man. Man created politicians, government. Government created all these laws that's supposed to be on behalf of man. We elect representatives and send them to Washington. And what do? Everything against us. Yeah. They position themselves above us, underneath God. Or maybe they're positioning themselves to be God.
Well, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. I think there's an element of ego that's there, and then the powers that be, like we just discussed, that control everything are able to now come in and control them and have them work on behalf of the evil. So I don't think they'd be able to position themselves as God if they didn't have someone behind them bankrolling them.
Okay, but we can lie to ourselves all we want. We can imagine things are different than they are. But the one thing that doesn't lie, guys, are results.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm agreeing with what you're saying.
What are our results right now? The people have no power. The politicians have all the power. And they're doing all the shit that's against God.
Are you sure they still are? Because there's a lot of evidence to say, and we don't have enough time. We have to have you on again. There's a lot of evidence that says a lot of these politicians are no longer really there. And it's not because I'm floating a narrative. It's because we know their public appearances are few and far between, if any.
Correct. And I get all that.
Yeah. So
but how do you know a big psyop isn't being played on us?
We don't.
Well, this is what we're trying to decipher, isn't it?
That's what we're trying to figure out, right?
The whole
Because
point.
as I sit back, I'm going back to Ronald Reagan. Trust but verify. How do you verify anything with AI nowadays?
Yeah.
100%.
How do you back Trump when Trump is bringing Palantir full forward? Palantir is what? A surveillance system that they put in all the governments that's moving to all the city governments and state governments and worldwide. There's only one country that denied Palantir, and that's Sweden. Peter Thiel is the one who pushed forth J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance hated Trump. Then all of a sudden he's his vice presidential pick. Who's Peter Thiel? Palantir. You got Larry Ellison. Who's Larry Ellison? Oracle. Who bought up TikTok? TikTok, guys, was the only reason why all the politicians came out against TikTok, because TikTok couldn't be controlled.
Right.
Who was on TikTok going against the vaccines, giving people free waivers on how to word their waivers? I just email them waivers on how to get out of the forced vaccine. I'm the one on there talking about government, how they trapped us into Admiralty Maritime Law. I'm the one who, my videos have been watched so I started up TikTok at the end of February 2022. By June of 2022, one of the guys, it's actually June of 2022, I had a seminar here in Salt Lake. One of the guys from the Texas seminar in April came up to my seminar in June. This was right after the Truth Tour. He said, we were out to dinner. He said, Ben, do you know that your TikTok videos have been watched I think he said 1.4 million times? I'm like, oh, bullshit. I got 77,000 followers. I'm locked down to 77,000 followers. I've got 200 and some odd thousand likes. You have to have 100,000 followers, 100,000 likes to monetize TikTok. But they've had me locked down because I went on a live and talked about the Khazarian Mafia. They shut me down mid-discussion on this live. I ended up having to finish it out on Facebook. He's like, no, dude, I'm serious. And he pulls it up again. He's like, holy shit, dude. 1.6 billion.
Wow.
1.6 billion views.
Wow.
By October of 2022, 27.7 billion times my videos have been watched. Because people are starving to be free.
Yeah. You know, this was amazing. I can't believe, right? I can't believe how much time went by so fast. Like
Time flies.
Right? But we want to have you back on because I want you to talk to the idea of the trust, which we really didn't get a chance to get into. And that is so important. And can I ask, this is based on is it called, if I'm not right, like a religious trust that you're talking about, where you're out of their
spiritual
system? A spiritual.
Just keep this in mind.
Okay.
Religion
It's
is
with
a
God,
construct.
basically.
Religion is a construct of man. Christ didn't want you to be religious.
Right.
Christ didn't want you to go to a church. Christ wanted you to go within.
Yes.
Yeah.
Religion is shame, guilt, blame. You'll never be good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Christ wanted you to go within, and Christ even said, ye shall go forth and do greater things than I.
Yes.
So what would make you less than Christ? He came here to show us, I'm going to show you idiots one more time. This is how you should be treating each other. And I say that jokingly.
Yeah.
We just don't get it, guys.
Well,
because we keep on following religion.
Yeah. I think there's a certain revival going on, but that's with people.
Oh, absolutely.
Love each other with this awakening and spirituality. Everyone knows organized religions, bullshit. And, Jesus came here and he flipped the tables, didn't he? He was going after the money
and
man.
Whipped the shit out of some people.
So,
that's the Christ I believe in. And so I'm going to say this, though. I'm going to say this, that there's people trying to hijack even the new stuff that's coming out. Yeah. There's Gnosticism, there's this, there's that, there's the other, and Christ consciousness, guys.
Yeah.
I believe I have a tough time thinking Christ is coming back again.
Yeah.
He already came back.
Mm-hmm.
I think what's happening now is what I refer to as Christ consciousness is that Christ is coming up through all of us.
Yes.
100%.
And it's not something that's going to be like, choose red or blue. It's not going to be something out of you that's going to be a choice. It's a silent choice inside of you that you are going to choose and you are going to be responsible for. And if you deny Christ, not going to be good for you.
No, that's a beautiful place to finish as well. And although we love Trump and we want Trump to pull through.
I love Trump, guys. I want Trump to be successful.
Yeah. I think, none of us worship false idols.
But I want you guys, as we leave this, I want you guys to be considering this, and we can go into this the next time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Utah is ground zero for smart cities.
Right.
Governor Cox of Utah, he's our governor. He wants to become the first smart state. Now, a lot of people think, oh, smart cities, smart states, that's awesome. It's just going to be technology. No, SMART is an acronym. Surveillance, monitoring, analysis, reporting, and tracking.
Yeah.
What is Palantir? Surveillance. What is Larry Ellison, the new owner of TikTok? What has he already said? We are going to be monitoring everybody and turning everybody in. So when you're saying smart cities, what a smart city is, the same as a 15-minute city.
Mm-hmm.
Everything is going to be within 15 minutes of you, your grocery store, your job, your everything. And you're not going to go out of your square. They're now bringing on, we don't want private vehicle ownership. Nobody will own private automobiles. Nobody will own homes. You'll own nothing unlike it.
Yeah.
So if Trump is really the guy that's going to make it all better, why are we going at light speed down that path?
Well,
that's what we have to consider. Not all is how we want it. All is how they want to make it. And we are the last ones to stand up. And if we don't have any idea what we need to stand up for, they're going to get it.
Well, it's all down to we the people. We have said this many times. And whether there's a military operation or not, we the people have to rise. And
because the military has to do what the civilian government says.
Exactly.
Has to. And the government has to do what the people vote for. But you can't vote your way out of this when they're colluding in the voting machines and everything else. So it takes the people, number one, educating themselves, proper education, breaking free of the indoctrination, really knowing history. If we're gonna take back this republic, guys, how do we take back this republic? How do they give us back the republic? Because that's what the military is supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
The military is going to give us back our country. How do you give your country back to an indoctrinated people?
Yeah, you don't.
You can't.
You can't. No. You have to psyop them to be indoctrinated a different way because
so then the military giving us back our country is a bridge to nowhere. We have to build that bridge. We, the people, have to build that bridge. They can't do anything without us breaking this indoctrination that we have and we don't get it given to us. We take it back. Not through guns, not through violence, not through protests, through education.
And this is exactly what the three of us will continue to do. Exactly what we're doing. Go and wake these people up and plant the seeds and do everything we can. But yeah, brilliant. Thank you, Ben. That was amazing.
You guys.
We'll definitely have you on again.
Thank you. Yes. I'll reach out. We'll get another date immediately because this is too important, especially that we didn't get to kind of the solution necessarily this time, right? So we will.
The solution's very simple, guys. It's very simple. It's not hard. It's not convoluted. It's very, very simple.
All right.
Appreciate you guys.
Thank you so much for what you do.
Everyone watching in the chat, look on the Rumble channel because I'll be loading. We're going live again in about 30 minutes, I think. So, Ben, brilliant. Where we go, and we go all.
Yes, we do. Thank you, guys. Have a great day. God bless you.
Guys. Bye. Thank you.